Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to tell you a story that begins on one ordinary morning, but slowly unfolds into something unforgettable. Something that reminds us how one small act of kindness can quietly change an entire life without us even realizing it. It was still early when the city was waking up. The streets were damp from last night's rain, the sky a soft gray, and the air carried that calm silence that only exists before the rush of the day begins. Among the people hurrying along the sidewalk was a young woman named Aisha. She walked quickly, clutching a thin folder to her chest like it was the most important thing in the world, because to her, it was inside that folder were copies of her resume, neatly printed and carefully arranged. She had gone over every word the night before, practicing answers in front of a cracked mirror in her small rented room. This interview meant everything to her. It was a position at a well-known company, a chance to finally step out of the endless cycle of temporary jobs and unpaid internships. If she got this job, she could help her mother with rent, pay off small debts, and maybe, just maybe, stop worrying about every single expense. Aisha checked the time on her phone again. She had planned everything perfectly. One bus, then a short walk, and she would arrive 20 minutes early. Early meant prepared. Early meant professional. Early meant hope. But life rarely follows our plans. As she stepped off the bus near a busy intersection, she noticed something unusual. Near the corner of a large shopping complex stood a little girl, no more than 6 or 7 years old. The girl was standing completely still, her small hands gripping the straps of a pink backpack, her eyes wide and shiny with fear. People walked past her without stopping, some glancing briefly, others completely ignoring her, all too busy with their own lives. Aisha slowed down. Something about the child made her heart tighten. The girl wasn't crying loudly or calling out. She just looked lost. Truly lost. Aisha told herself she couldn't stop. She looked at the time again. She was already cutting it close. This interview could decide her future. Someone else would help the child, she thought. Maybe her parents were nearby. She took a few steps forward. Then she heard a tiny voice behind her. Miss Aisha stopped. She turned around slowly. The little girl was looking directly at her now, eyes trembling, lips quivering. "I can't find my dad," the girl whispered. That was it. In that moment, the interview, the clock, the carefully planned morning, all faded into the background. Aisha knelt down in front of the girl, forcing a gentle smile onto her face. "It's okay," she said softly. "What's your name?" "Lena," the girl replied. "Okay, Lena. Don't worry. We'll find him." "Where did you last see your dad?" The girl shook her head. "We were inside. Then I turned around and he was gone." Aisha stood up and looked around. The shopping complex was large, with multiple entrances and exits. This could take time. She felt a familiar wave of anxiety rise in her chest. She checked her phone again. 10 minutes. That's all she had before she absolutely needed to leave. But how could she leave this child? Aisha took Lena's hand. "Let's go to the security office," she said. "They can help us find your dad." As they walked, Lena held on tightly, as if afraid Aisha might disappear too. At the security desk, Aisha explained the situation. The guards immediately started making announcements and contacting staff. Lena was given a small juice box, which she held with both hands, still not letting go of Aisha's fingers. Minutes passed. 5 became 10. 10 became 20. Aisha's phone buzzed. It was a reminder notification she had set the night before. "Interview, don't be late." Her heart sank. She imagined the interview room. The hiring manager, checking the time, shaking their head, moving on to the next candidate. She imagined her mother asking how it went, and her having to explain that she never even made it there. She swallowed hard. "I'm sorry," she whispered to herself. Just then, there was sudden movement near the entrance. A tall man in a tailored coat rushed in, his face pale with panic. He scanned the room desperately until his eyes landed on Lena. "Lena," he shouted, running forward and dropping to his knees in front of her. He pulled her into his arms, holding her tightly. The little girl buried her face in his chest, finally letting out the tears she had been holding back. The man looked up at Aisha, his eyes filled with relief and gratitude. "Thank you," he said, his voice shaking. "Thank you so much. I turned around for 1 second and she was gone." "I don't know what I would have done if it's okay," Aisha said quickly. "I'm just glad she's safe." The man stood up, still holding Lena's hand. "Please, let me do something for you. At least let me give you my card. I want to thank you properly." Aisha hesitated. She looked at the card he held out. It was simple, elegant, with just a name and a company logo embossed in gold. She recognized the company name instantly. It was one of the largest investment firms in the country. She felt her stomach drop. "No, it's really fine," she said. "Anyone would have helped." The man studied her for a moment, then smiled gently. "Maybe, but not everyone would have stayed." Aisha checked the time again and felt the final sting of reality. She was officially late. There was no point. Rush in now. I actually have to go, she said softly. Of course, the man replied. But please, take the card. Reluctantly, she slipped it into her bag. She waved goodbye to Lena, who smiled and waved back. And then Aisha turned and walked away, her shoulders heavy, her heart full of mixed emotions. The rest of the day felt unreal. She went home and sat on the edge of her bed, staring at the wall. She didn't cry, she didn't scream, she just felt tired. Tired of trying, tired of hoping. That evening, her phone rang. An unknown number. She almost didn't answer. Hello, she said. Is this Aisha? A calm voice asked. Yes, this is Daniel Raymond. We met this morning. My daughter Lena got lost. I straightened up. Yes, I remember. I hope I'm not disturbing you, he said. I wanted to ask, were you on your way to something important when you helped us? There was a pause. Aisha hesitated, then answered honestly. A job interview. And you missed it because of us? He said quietly. She replied. Another pause. Then he said something that made her breath catch. I'd like to make it up to you. Not with money, he added quickly, as if anticipating her response, but with an opportunity. I'd like you to come to my office tomorrow. His mind raced. I don't understand. I'm the CEO of Raymond Holdings, he said calmly. And I believe character matters more than perfect timing. Anyone can show up to an interview. Not everyone chooses a child over their own future. Her hands started shaking. The next day, Aisha walked into a building far more impressive than the one she had missed the interview for. Glass walls, quiet hallways, people moving with purpose. She felt small and out of place, but she walked forward anyway. Daniel greeted her personally. Lena was there too, holding a drawing. This is for you, Lena said, handing it to Aisha. It was a picture of 3 stick figures holding hands. Aisha smiled, her eyes burning. They talked for over an hour. Not just about work, but about life. About values. About choices. Daniel listened more than he spoke. When she left, he didn't promise her a job. He promised her a chance. Weeks later, Aisha officially started working at Raymond Holdings. It wasn't handed to her. She earned it. She learned fast, worked hard, and never forgot where she came from. Sometimes, when things get stressful, she looks at that old drawing taped inside her desk drawer. It reminds her that the moment she thought she lost everything was actually the moment her life quietly changed direction. And Daniel, he never forgot either. He often told his employees the story of the day his daughter got lost, and how a stranger showed him that true wealth isn't measured in money, but in the courage to do the right thing when no one is watching. So if there's one thing to take away from this story, it's this. You never know who you're helping. You never know what door might open because you chose kindness over convenience. Sometimes, the interview you miss leads you to the life you were meant to live. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one.